It truly is such a blessing when we can open up our closet and pick an outfit with ease that feels like ourselves. Sometimes this can be easier said than done. So in today's video, I am doing exactly what you guys said you'd like for me to do, and I am going over some tips to help you build your capsule wardrobe. So recently I have been on this journey of reducing my wardrobe. I've been using Project 333, which is a method where you wear 33 pieces of clothing for the next 3-month period. And then after that 3-month period, you change to a new round of 33 pieces. I am going to link a playlist down below. It will have my summer capsule, and then it will have the 2-part series of me building my fall capsule. I do also plan to do some videos, kind of like a week of my outfits and that kind of thing, just so you guys can get an idea of what it looks like. But I asked in my last video if you guys would like to hear the tips that I think are helpful, and I got a resounding yes from quite a few of you. So I'm going to share those today. Now, I will go ahead and tell you, I only have one tip for decluttering, and that will be my first tip. There are several people on YouTube that I think are just very skilled at decluttering and kind of going about things in a very logical way. Decluttering can be difficult. A lot of us have attachments to our things. Sometimes it's hard to let go. And even though we know that we'll probably feel better on the other side, sometimes that letting go can be really difficult. So I just want you to know that that is normal and that I feel that too. But this first tip is going to be about decluttering, and then everything else is going to be about building your capsule. All right, tip number 1 is be honest with yourself. So in the process of paring down your wardrobe, if you are starting with a large number like I did, I started with 60 items that could have been in my fall wardrobe. So over double what I really needed in there. It can certainly feel overwhelming, and it can certainly feel like, how can I possibly narrow it down to this many pieces? Or it can feel like I have so many things that I want to include. One of my biggest questions for myself is, did I wear this last fall and winter? How about the fall and winter before? There's a good chance that if you did not wear it the previous 2 fall and winters, you're not going to wear it this year. When I finally decided these are my yeses and these are my nos, I bagged up all of my nos and I sent them to my sister. And it's been such a blessing to see that some of the things that didn't quite work for me have worked for her, and they look really nice on her. And if I had just hoarded these things up in my closet and said maybe I'll wear them and then I never did, then nobody would be enjoying them. This is the whole premise of how I build my wardrobe, is secondhand shopping. And if people did not donate their clothing to thrift stores, if they did not sell their things at yard sales, then I wouldn't have a way to shop, because 95% of our clothing in our household comes from secondhand sources. All right, so I have 9 tips here to help you build your capsule. So let's get started. All right, so this one is start with what you already know you love. Start with the pieces that you already have and the pieces that you know that you love. So clear your closet out completely and go ahead and put in the definite yeses. Which shirts make you feel the most like yourself? What fabrics do you really enjoy feeling next to your skin? What colors do you look best in? And we'll touch on that later. The easiest way to begin this process is by starting with a clean slate and going ahead and putting in those few pieces that you know without a doubt you want to include. Now, once you have identified the pieces that you love and that you want to automatically include, then you will be able to see where you have some holes. Not holes in your garments, but holes in your closet. So you may be able to see, like I did, I don't have a navy long sleeve and I would really like to have one. You might see I don't have a good pair of jeans to wear with my favorite pair of boots. Or you might realize that one of your favorite items is worn and that you would like to replace it. So that will help you recognize kind of where those holes are and maybe some pieces that you want to incorporate. Now the next tip is something that's a little bit difficult for me because I'm such a secondhand and frugal shopper. But I have realized that with doing only 33 pieces, sometimes it's really beneficial to invest in your pieces. Now, I'm not at a place where I can do this across the board. Most of my items are still thrifted, but there are a few pieces that I am buying new, or that I am buying something that is really good quality. I bought these Chelsea boots last year. They are quite expensive, but I know that they will last me for several years, so it was worth the investment for me to go ahead and buy those. So I would just say invest in quality when you can and when it makes sense for you. All right, this next tip I think is my favorite tip. This was the one that was kind of a light bulb moment for me as I was doing my capsule. That tip is your reason is reason enough. Let me explain. So in those fall wardrobe videos, whenever I was trying things on, I was really noticing maybe I didn't like how this flared out at the bottom. I didn't like how this was a little bit itchy. Maybe I didn't like that this had an exposed zipper so it was cold against my skin. What I realized was that there is no reason that is too small for you to not wear an item of clothing. We tend to blow off our reasons for not wearing an article of clothing as sort of being us being picky, and we think, well, maybe I'll eventually wear it. But then most of the time we don't. We reach for those pieces that we feel good in, that we feel like we look good in, and the other ones that have those very small reasons stay hanging in the closet. So when you're laying your things out, when you're trying your things on, if there is a reason that you won't pick this item, then that probably means that it's time to pass it on. Because likely if it's hanging in your closet next to your favorite sweater or a really pretty shirt that you like the way you look in, you're not going to pick that item. That really was a light bulb moment for me when I realized these are my clothes and these are my decisions, and I really need to pay attention to why don't I want to wear this? And if there's a reason, no matter how small, that's okay, and maybe it's time to let it go. All right, the next tip is to get some Pinspiration. So Pinterest is a wonderful resource for finding inspiration. It can be sort of overwhelming, it can be endless, which is why I've said before I really like looking at magazines because there's a beginning and end, especially with things like home decor and seasonal decor. But when it comes to capsule wardrobes, Pinterest can be a really valuable tool. So you can search fall capsule wardrobe, autumn capsule wardrobe, and all of these things will come up that usually are around the 33 piece mark. And you can at least get an idea of, oh, this is what this looks like all laid out together. A lot of them are on a white background and it's very nice, and it shows you at a glance what the entire wardrobe looks like. And you can see that oftentimes the pieces work well together. A lot of times they're in a similar color palette. And additionally, you may get into these capsule wardrobes and realize there's a piece in there that fills one of those holes like we were talking about in your wardrobe. So absolutely get some Pinspiration for your capsule as a whole, but also for the individual pieces. All right, next one is consider your colors. So I talked about this a little bit. You can get your colors professionally done. There are companies that you can pay and they will evaluate how you look draped in different clothing, different colors, and then they will tell you if you classify as a light spring or a deep winter or a something autumn. I have very minimal knowledge of it. I did not get mine officially done, but I have a friend who is pretty well studied in it, and she told me she thinks that I am a light spring. So I sent her a picture kind of looking at natural light, and she was able to tell me what she thought I was. I didn't use this as a way to say I can't wear certain colors. I think you can wear whatever colors you want. But I used this as a guiding principle to say, maybe we're gonna gear in this direction. Definitely not everything in my closet is in the light spring palette. And right now where I am, I'm okay with that. But I definitely paid attention. Additionally, when you look at my closet as a whole, there is a definite theme. We have like natural earth tones, like browns and tans. We have some creams. I have some yellows and oranges. I definitely have like brown and navy in there. And then I always have various shades of green and blue. Looking at the light spring colors was definitely kind of confirmation for me as far as some things. I don't normally gravitate towards stark white or black, and I normally don't wear red. And if I look at the color palette, none of those are really in my recommended colors. So again, this is not a end all be all for everyone, but it is something that you can consider, and it might help you hone in on what you feel best in. All All right, this next tip I sort of borrowed from Jennifer L. Scott. She does a capsule wardrobe as well. She does the 10-item wardrobe, and I think her videos are very interesting. But she recommended that to look your best, to feel your best, you need to know what you look like from behind. This can be very uncomfortable. Maybe if you're like me, I just prefer to not think about what I look like from behind. If I can't see it, maybe nobody else can. And of course, that's not the truth. So being able to do a 360 on camera, you don't have to have a professional camera, just prop up your phone and just do a nice slow turn, stand at different angles in an outfit that you're on the fence about. And this will help you to know what you look like from all angles and see how you really feel. It's something that kind of happened on accident with me. As I have been doing videos and trying on different things, I would turn around to go look in the mirror and say, oh, I didn't know that's what it looked like from the back, or that's how it fit in the back. So it sounds like common sense, but a lot of times I don't think to do that. And that might make the difference in whether you keep an outfit or whether you let it go. All right, I mentioned this in my summer video whenever I was first introducing the idea of Project 333 to myself and to you guys. But Courtney Carver, who created this whole concept, she said if you get hung up on a category, maybe you are super expressive with your jewelry, maybe you have a large shoe collection, or maybe you live in a climate where you need a lot of different coats. She said if you're going to get hung up on one of these categories, just omit it from your 33 items. So actually, I had shared with you guys, I chose to do that with my jewelry, and I'm going to do the same thing with my coats, so with my outerwear jackets. So anything that I have that's like a cardigan or a vest, those are going to be in my 33 items, but the coats I'm going to keep outside of that. This is very much a decide for yourself, use discretion, know yourself, because you can definitely fudge on the numbers and just basically do nothing and have as many pieces as you've always had. I'm definitely not doing that, but I'm just making allowances with those two categories. And I know for me that that still is going to be okay. I think it's still going to work. And then to kind of piggyback off of that, it's good to know that your 33 pieces don't have to be static. They don't have to be unchanging. So if you get 2 weeks into this and you realize, I have too many tops, but not enough layering pieces. I have too many pairs of pants, but not enough tops. Or maybe you find a top that you thought was worth a valuable spot in the 33 and you've since decided you don't think that way anymore. You can change your mind. I think sometimes we are paralyzed by decision fatigue and we think we have to get this perfect the first time. And so much of life is just a learning experience. So if you don't get it right the first time, that's okay. You can absolutely change out your pieces. Admittedly, this is my first time ever doing Project 333 in cold weather. It was very easy in the summer because I didn't have varying temperatures. So a lot of you have asked questions about that, and honestly, I don't know yet. I'm trying to just keep variety in my pieces and keep several different types of layers and knowing that I can kind of mix and match those, but I'm still experimenting with this part. Lastly, this is kind of a bonus tip here, but as you are choosing your pieces, think about the things that you're going to be doing for the next 3 months. Envision yourself doing those activities. Envision yourself carrying out those responsibilities and doing those tasks, going to those events, and imagine what you might want to look like. What would you like to look like when you show up? What would you like to be wearing in photos? Put yourself in those scenarios and say, if I go to this pumpkin carving party, if I go to this Christmas concert, what would I like to wear? I think looking ahead to the next 3 months can be really helpful in deciding your pieces and setting you up for a closet that you love coming to every single day. All right, you guys, those are all the tips that I have. I don't think that creating a capsule wardrobe means that you have to become a new person. I don't think that you have to get so far out of your comfort zone that you don't know who you are anymore or why you're wearing these pieces of clothing. Start with what you already love, notice the holes, and then use these tips to help you fill in those holes and love your closet well. All right, you guys, I hope that this helps you. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I have a lot of fun videos coming. We are in my favorite 3-month span of the year. This October, November, December time of year is just pure magic to me. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll be talking to you next time.